Because of why I search the deep through endless nights, no time to sleep. The call inside I can't deny. I'll find the light because of why.
Hey everyone, and welcome. Ever look at a map of the Pacific, see Guam sitting right there next to the Philippines, and wonder, why isn't it part of the Philippines? It seems like it should be, right? Well, the answer is this incredible mix of history, law, and identity, and we are going to unpack it all today.
I mean, seriously, it's a genuine historical puzzle. You've got two places that are right next to each other. Both were Spanish colonies for hundreds of years, and both were picked up by the United States in the exact same war. So how on earth did they end up on such completely different paths? All right, let's dive in. To really get to the bottom of this, we have to rewind the clock to one single pivotal year, 1898. This is the moment, the fork in the road, where the shared story of Guam and the Philippines just splits, sending them down totally different tracks for the next 100+ years. So for more than 3 centuries, these two places were basically siblings in the vast Spanish Empire. They had a shared culture, a shared government, the whole deal. But that all came to a screeching halt when a brand new power came sailing over the horizon, the United States Navy.
And this brings us to one of my favorite little stories in history. It's just wild. When the American warship, the USS Charleston, shows up at Guam, it fires its cannons. But the Spanish officials on the island had literally no idea there was a war on. They thought it was a friendly salute and sent a boat out to apologize because they didn't have enough gunpowder to return the favor. The next day, the island just peacefully surrendered. Not a single shot was fired in anger.
So the war itself is one thing, but what happened after the fighting stopped, that is what really matters here. The simplest, most direct answer to our question is buried in the fine print of the document that ended the war, the 1898 Treaty of Paris. And you're about to see how just a few sentences changed everything. So check this out. The treaty handled the two places in 2 totally separate articles. Right from the get-go, they were legally distinct. In Article 2, Spain just ceded Guam to the U.S., basically handed it over. But in Article 3, Spain sold the Philippines to the U.S. for $20 million. They were treated as completely different deals from day one. But look, that piece of paper was really just the starting pistol. It laid the groundwork for 2 completely different political journeys over the next 50 years, as the U.S. figured out what to do with its new territories. And wow, did those paths split fast. The Philippines, after a really complicated period under American rule, was ultimately put on the road to independence, becoming its own republic in 1946. Guam, though, a totally different story. It was seen as a key strategic spot for the military, and in 1950, its status was locked in as an unincorporated U.S. territory with something called the Organic Act. So, what the heck is an Organic Act? Well, you can think of it like a mini constitution handed down from the U.S. Congress. It basically set up the rules for Guam's local government, its courts, and a Bill of Rights for its people. It cemented Guam's place with the United States, but made it clear it wasn't going to be a state. But you know, this whole story isn't just about empires and dusty old treaties signed thousands of miles away. What did the actual people living on Guam, the Chamorro people, what did they think about all this? Their voice turns out to be a really powerful, maybe even decisive part of the answer. So get this. In the 1920s, this idea starts floating around to just give Guam to the Philippines to administer. And the reaction from the leaders in Guam wasn't just a simple no thanks. It was a swift, powerful, and total rejection of the idea. They were determined to shape their own future.
I mean, listen to this. This is from an official resolution passed by Guam's own legislature back then. It says it all, right? They had a taste of American administration, and they were making it crystal clear that they wanted to stick with the U.S., not be handed over to anybody else. And it wasn't just some dry political statement. Here's a quote from Agita Iglesias, who was a really important Chamorro educator and leader. Her words show you this deeply held belief that the best path forward for Guam, for its progress and its future, was with the United States. So, what it all really boiled down to was identity. Chamorro leaders made this argument, saying, look, we've been peaceful, we've been loyal partners with the U.S. Navy.
They drew a really sharp line between themselves and the Philippines, which, remember, had just fought a brutal war against the United States for its independence. Their message was simple: we are not the same. We are loyal.
Okay, so all of these decisions from a century ago, the legal papers, the political paths, the cultural choices, they all ripple forward and create the complex reality that we see on the map today. So let's pull all these threads together one last time.
So there you have it, the answer to why isn't Guam part of the Philippines? It's not just one thing, it's really 3 layers stacked on top of each other. It started with a legal split, right there in the Treaty of Paris. That led to a political divergence, where one went toward independence and the other became a territory. And maybe most importantly, it was sealed by a cultural choice, by the Chamorro people themselves, who actively chose an American future.
And, this whole story leaves us with a really fascinating question for today. Guam's people are American citizens. The island is American soil, but it's not a state, and it doesn't have full representation. Its unique history really makes you think, what does it even mean to be American when you're not a state? It's complicated, right? Thanks so much for sticking with me through that explainer. It's such a complex piece of history. I'm really curious. What are your thoughts on Guam's story? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to read your take.
And of course, if you enjoyed this and learned something new, you know what to do. Hit that like button, share it with a friend who might find it interesting, and definitely subscribe for more explainers from us. We'll see you in the next one.